A new code of practice has recently been issued to help designers of farm effluent management systems. Featherston dairy farmer Keith Dennis is planning a new treatment system. He's welcomed the code, as it gives him some assurance that the investment he's about to make will do what it's designed to.
There's just so many different problems with the effluent that we never knew about, and we never really considered a problem. And I think the Dirty Dairying campaign has really got a lot of dairy farmers' backs up, and they don't like being treated like that. They see themselves as good stewards of the land, and so they've been really proactively trying to figure out how to fix it. A huge value to us is having a system that is recognisable and measurable. One of the things that we struggle with is what does the council want, and they need something too that's measurable. So by having a code and people that have to meet a criteria, the council's got something it can measure itself against. As this is the expectation we have of the equipment that you've put in, and the farmer has the same expectation, and the supplier does too. So everybody's got a standard they can build to. The actual code itself, the design code, it's very mathematical. It's more hydrology type engineering figures. So, you'd need to figure it out a bit. Take a little bit of work to figure it out on your own. But it's more for the designers of the equipment, so they know the specs of equipment that they have to bring in. And the walkthrough for the farmer side of it, there's a walkthrough. This is, I'm designing a system. You can go through and you can sort of work out what you need for your farm, because not every farm's the same. We've been soil testing the block that we're using, which is 30 hectares, and we actually originally started with 21 hectares, and one of the big problems are the massive potash build-ups in the soils, let alone the nitrogen. And we moved to 30 hectares and the same problem, and the thinking was all this fertiliser that we've got concentrated on 30 hectares, why can't we get that around more of the farm? And so the general idea is what we're going to do is we're going to put a first settling pond here, and then behind you there'll be a second settling pond or holding pond, and there'll be a machine called a solid separator, which will basically, the liquid is drawn in and pushed through a squeeze press, and all the dried sort of bits and pieces of the cow muck is put to one side, and it's mainly fibres and leaves and things like that. And that'll be stored as a dry fertiliser that we can shift by truck to the areas of the farm that we can't reach with this irrigation system. And then the pond that we're looking at putting here, that'll have another pump on it, and we'll have a pipe network fitting into our irrigation system. So we can use one or the other irrigation system as a way of shifting that effluent right around the whole farm.
This book will walk you right through the whole process.
Logan Bowler is an environmental extension specialist with Dairy NZ, who's helping take the design through to practical application.
One of the advantages of using the code of practice when putting a new system in is it will be compliant. It's better than just being compliant. We need systems that are compliant 365 days of the year, and the code of practice will give us that. It will give us a fit-for-purpose design on each individual farm. The code is voluntary, and we're just encouraging people to use an accredited. The accreditation process isn't quite here yet. There's training starting through Massey University mid this year, and then an accreditation process to follow that. And we encourage people in the interim to ask their designers and planners and installers to use the code as a means of getting the end result. We're looking at soils and topography. We look at what we can apply at what rates and what depths. That comes back to how much storage we need, the water use in the shed over here. It brings the whole package together, and so we start right out at where we need our irrigated effluent and work back from there. It's not just for a brand new system. Any add-ons or any changes, certainly you should be using that code as a means of getting the best use of your money.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.